Martial Law Part 2. All right, I'm going to make a deal with you by the end of this video. My name is Paul, Apex Mindset. Take your finger over to the subscribe button, hit subscribe. Okay, so I did a video. I actually filmed it a couple days ago, aired it today. This one I'm filming today, airing today. The situation is changing on a day-to-day basis, as you know, with the crisis. But I've had a lot of people ask questions about martial law. I made the statement in a lengthy argument in my last video that we are not going to have martial law here in the United States of America. And I gave you the reasons why that is. So since I made that video, as I kind of assumed would happen, the National Guard has been mobilized in various different states. I assumed this would happen, right? What has happened in every single crisis, whether it's Katrina, Flint's water crisis, you name it, natural disasters, National Guard gets mobilized to help, correct? So just because the National Guard is being mobilized, that doesn't mean that they're here to institute martial law and police you. That doesn't really wash with what's happening or the reality on the ground. Furthermore, just because they're going to be augmenting and helping police, that doesn't mean they're here to police you. And I know that sounds weird, but police do more than just arrest people, okay, especially in a crisis, all right? And so we also have a manning problem or a shortage of personnel to even handle a crisis of this magnitude in law enforcement and first responders, which is why National Guard will be augmenting them. But guaranteed they're not going to be out busting people in the heads, pointing guns in their faces, and making them do stuff. Okay, that's not what's going to happen in any of the states that are instituting that stuff. That being said, there are people who are after your rights. There are people that want to take your rights away. There are people that will attempt to, and maybe successfully, overstep the lines of what's appropriate to restrict some of your rights and your freedoms. That's a thing, okay? That's real. That's not martial law, but that is something that some politicians will take this crisis and use it as an opportunity to further restrict your rights and freedoms, okay? But I hate to say it, United States, and people listening to this, maybe not you individually who's listening, but as a whole, we got no one to blame but ourselves for that, okay? Because we have been apathetic for way too long. We have not been participating in the voting process, in the political process, and we have been electing people who have a mindset to take your rights away when they get the chance or the opportunity. We've been dealing with good times for so long with no distress and no problems that we are electing people with ideology of having this collective good and an ideology of that doesn't quite work when the shit hits the fan. And these are the same people who will take your rights away given the opportunity. These are the same people who down in Louisiana are going to decide to ban your ability to purchase a firearm because there's a crisis. Well, last I checked, the firearms don't have anything to do with the spread of coronavirus. That's just an attempt to restrict your rights based on their personal ideologies. And we can go throughout the line. Is government overstepping their bounds? In some ways, I think that they are. I'll let you decide which ways you think that is. But all I have to say about that is if you don't like it, then you need to start paying attention to what's going on in the political process and start unelecting people, start assembling with others that are like-minded and petitioning to get people out of office, okay, and start participating in our process. So we don't elect these assholes that want to take your rights away during these times, all right? So that's enough about that. But that's what you can do about that. If you don't like what's going on, then you need to get involved and stop electing these people, all right? Okay, so last point. So I mentioned, again, yes, because despite some of these things that are going on, still not martial law, okay? That's not the directive of the National Guard, okay? But I'll make a deal with you, all right? If I'm wrong, and martial law does get instituted, and people are being forced to do things at gunpoint, and we're talking at a large scale, not isolated terrible incidences, but at scale, people are being pushed around through violence, coercion, and gunpoint, okay, to comply with executive orders. I'm not talking about cease and desist orders on businesses or arrests from that, okay? But I'm talking about individuals are being forced to stay in their homes at gunpoint, are having National Guard and people in military, garb coming around to force you to do things. All right, if that does happen at any scale, I will personally apologize. If I'm wrong and martial law happens at a scale, I will personally do another video and say I'm sorry for being wrong on that. None of what I've assessed points to us doing that, okay? But and there may be people out there who would love to do that, but as I explained in my previous video, they can't do that. If it happens though, if I'm wrong, I will admit it. Okay? I promise. But here's what I want you to do. If you're out there promoting these ideas of martial law, it's happening. I talked to a friend. I talked to a friend in law enforcement. I talked to a friend who's a federal agent. I talked to this person who works for the state, and they told me martial law is coming. If you're spreading those rumors, or if you're the person starting those rumors because you believe it's going to happen and you're some security guard at Selfridge Air Base, or you're some, I don't know, air marshal or whatever, ATF agent somewhere, and your just personal opinion is the shit's hitting the fan now and you better tell everybody, and you're telling people like it's fact and people are believing you because you work for the federal government, you got to be ashamed of yourself. And I want you to go on, make sure that if that doesn't happen and you're wrong, you tell everybody that you are sorry for saying those things. You get on your social media platforms, you apologize. You apologize to everyone that you misled. Even if you're somebody who heard the rumor and now you're going to spread it around, make sure you apologize for you being wrong. Why do I say that? Because that's the kind of stuff that incites panic and anxiety. That's the kind of stuff that's clearing your shelves out at the grocery store. That's the kind of stuff that's inciting civil unrest. Ideas that the government is going to take over and force you to do things at gunpoint without proof or evidence is what's inciting some of the bad things that actually are happening. And you are responsible for it if you are the ones promoting that stuff, especially if you work for the government, you're promoting that stuff. So if you're wrong and martial law doesn't happen, what I would really like you to do is I would really like you to give everybody that apology. You owe them that, okay? And that's it. We'll see what happens in a couple months. Share this with your friends. Like it if you like it. If you hate it, hit the unlike button. If you got something to say it in the comments. Thanks again.